Alright. This is gonna be a long one. Okay. So, Pokemon is getting a good amount of attention this year, considering Detective Pikachu and the reveal and speculation about the first mainline game on the Switch, Sword and Shield. Did you really not think of anything else? Anyway, with this attention, it got me watching some Pokemon videos, and it made me start thinking about Pokemon games as a whole. In my recollection, I came to realize two major issues with the last couple Pokemon games that I think hinder the experience old and new fans could have. So let's talk about designs, and more importantly, debatably, story. I'm not a hardcore competitive, just throwing it out there. Don't start talking to me about no god dang EV training bull hockaju. Alright, let's go. Into my office. So back when Pokemon was first created, there was a real small team. And when I say small, I mean like a few people at an empty Thanksgiving dinner table made by college kids, but there were people that just didn't follow through with the plans. But out of that small number came fantastic designs. Gen 1 to a large margin of people. I think even when you exclude the Gen 1ers, consider Gen 1 to have some of the strongest Pokemon designs. The original 3 starters are still some of the best out of the bunch. And yes, I am a Bulbasaur bitch boy, and I have no goddamn shaming loving this wonderful toad plant. All of you Charizard tail-sucking turds can go fuck. I'm not sorry. Snorlax stays as iconic as ever and never seems to drop in price as a beanbag, you stingy son of a bitch. The Pokemon Company might be trying a hand-fist Sylveon on us, but Eevee is an OG and the original evolution tree is still some of the better ones to some. My favorite is Flareon. I'll take the hate comments on that one. I already know. Gen 1 bugs are probably the most bug-ass bugs you'll ever see. We might have gotten actual dogs in the later generations, but Growlithe and its evolution Arcanine are still some top-tier ass dogs. Lapras, Magikarp, Gyarados, the Aberline, Gengar. Those are just some of the ones I see constantly, no matter what Pokemon is doing. But I can already hear people being internet-y, so hey, there's more fantastic Pokemon down the road, so let's keep it going. Things never get bad. Gen 2, let's give another round of applause for all these fantastic little guys, eh? The Mareep is great through and through, rewarding you with the solo lighthouse powerhouse himself, Ampharos. Real ass plants, Tekken's Eddie if he looked like a tree, Hand Monkey, Armless Tadpole Wooper who's just so goddamn happy he doesn't know what that is. Sneasel, the blue punching bag that is Wobbuffet, and had a main appearance in the anime for a very long time. Need I go on? Oh well, I'm gonna keep going, because this generation introduced babies. Some are cute, like my little precious Pichu that I force into my team as much as I can, and then some are smoochum. And that's unfortunate. The Eevee line got 2 new evolutions that are both solid in design, and other Pokemon from Gen 1 also got pretty cool evolutions like Steelix and Scizor. Basically, it just grew upon what Gen 1 did, and what's important to note is that the number of Pokemon designers slightly went up. Still pretty small though. Gen 3, Deja Vu. Great starters, awesome dogs, great bird, a shark, a fucking whale! Crabs again, snakes again, a sun and a moon. Wait, isn't that like 5 generations ahead? I think Gen 3 is the first time we see Pokemon looking accurate to its location, mainly because this is the first time Pokemon was kind of moved away to a different location. There's plenty of water in Gen 3, and it's kind of more tropical than the last games before it, but not nearly as tropical as Sun and Moon, of course. All 3 of the starters I feel reflect the region very well, with Trico representing all of the nature and tall grass and forest-y areas, Torchic representing the volcanic and steam locations, and Mudkip with all this too much agua. Lotad, Wingull, and Kecleon are all great examples of representation too. I think Gen 3 is my favorite Pokemon game. I jump between 2 and 3, but as much love as I have for this generation, I'll have to come back to this, so don't forget. Never forget. 4. Tired of this yet? I'm getting there. For Gen 3, the design group grew into 13 people. That's a pretty alright number. But by the time Gen 4 came around, 6 people decided to take their leave. To compensate, they just hired 6 new people to replace them. So while the numbers stayed the same, the faces and design field definitely didn't. So was this bad for Pokemon? Well, not entirely. The stars were good again, even though I have my gripes with Piplup, but the Shinx line is damn good, along with the Starly, Croagunk, and Gible lines. The most iconic Pokemon from this gen are probably Lucario, Rampardos, Bastiodon, Weasel, Lopunny, for reasons we probably don't need to mention, and Bidoof, because everyone loves slavery. Gen 4 definitely had strong Pokemon and evolution lines. I do like a lot of Pokemon in it, but the problem with this one is that there are so many fucking evolutions of older Pokemon. There are. You fucking listening? You paying attention? Eyes are up? Good. Okay. Are you with me? 19 fucking evolutions for older Pokemon. 19! That's not even including 2 new evolutions that I don't think are that great. And there's 4 new babies, which aren't really that bad. But when there are so many references to older Pokemon, it's a bit much. The worst part about it is that a good number of them are god-awful. Magnezone, Licky Licky, Tangworth, Magmortar, Propass.
But why though?
Well, I think Gen 4 is overall good with its design. Fuck! I do think this is where the dip in design starts. So with that being said, ice cream cone. Yeah, okay, so Gen 5 is easily the generation I hate the most. I'm gonna try to refrain from speaking too much on it, but basically, what the fuck happened to these Pokemon? The starters are some of the weakest yet, in my opinion. And the only good Pokemon designs I can deal with is the New York bird and not its evolution. Drillbur and Excadrill, Crocodile, Darmanitan, Caracosta and Archeops, if that's even how you pronounce it. Zoroark, fucking duh. Chubchoo, I can't hate that face. Bravery and, Yep, yeah, those are the only Pokemon out of this entire region I actually have positive feelings towards. This isn't to say I hate all of the other ones, because I don't. I'm either very neutral with, say, the Blitzel line, Dino, Throw, and Sock, most of the plants, the Deerling stuff, Emolga, amongst others. I'm neutral with most. Most I just don't care for or think about, but, others. Yeah, others I hate. Others are bags of garbage. Every goddamn Pan and Simmer, hate. Patrat line, hate. Timberline, and even the way it's spelled, hate. Crustals, Sigilyph, Gothla-line, Amoonguss, Clinkline, hate. I swear, Gen 5 has the worst designs of any Pokemon game. I won't say inconsistent, because I honestly don't know which one holds that unfortunate crown, but it's definitely horrible. Yet alas, I can already hear the people going, "But Kay, every generation has dumb and uninspired Pokemon designs." And you know what? Yeah, you're right, but they're a lot more acceptable. Gen 1 had actual Pokeballs, but I find that as more of a playful inclusion and made all of us go, "Hey, it's a fucking Pokeball, what the fuck?" Gen 2 had Sunflora, which, yeah, I got no defense for that one, but it doesn't look dumb. Gen 3 has Clamperl and a fucking Heartfish, and Gen 4 has Lopunny. Point is, the common trend, and why I scoff at the comparison is that, well, I guess the designs might be not great themselves, well put with the rest of its respected generation, it's still fitting and they aren't a massive hindrance to a bigger picture. For Gen 5, though, it's right in your face. You don't get the same little chuckle you have when you see a Voltorb when it's a random bag of garbage, or a floating fucking ice cream cone! Gen 6. I'm getting tired. People only remember Greninja. Phoenix Bird is pretty cool too. Litleo and the female evolution is cool. The Pancham line is sick as hecko. Both fossils are pretty damn good. Halucha is fucking Nacho Libre and nobody will ever tell me otherwise. He's fantastic. Goodra is fucking hentai fuel and it was a mistake. And Trevenant is underrated. Also, yeah, everybody likes Noivern. Gen 6 kind of feels like Gen 4 where it hits a middle ground and hits an issue where there just aren't a whole lot of new Pokemon this time around. Or it at least feels that way. We get a real ass dog as real as can be. You can cut its fucking hair, like, what? And we get the last and most recent evolution in the form of Sylveon. It's alright. Better than the 2 from Gen 4. Maybe. In terms of Gen 5 level of bad design, why the fuck do we have a floating sword? How is that a Pokemon? Pokemon started out as inspirations from bugs and the wild. Where the fuck is there a sword just outside? The Binacle line, however you say it. I get it. It still looks horrible. And, keys. The entire set of Pokemon for this generation is mediocre at best. It isn't incredible, but it isn't Gen 5. Let's finally get this over with. Alright, so Gen 7. 2 of the 3 starters clearly gets more attention than the other, but I don't think any are bad. Incineroar day 1 though. Him and Smash over Decidueye though, even fucking better. Pikipek line is great, Rockruff line is great, Wishy-Washy is pretty creative, and Like, you know what? I'm not gonna name everyone I like, because I do actually like a lot of them. But I have two problems with this generation. The first is that I think evolutions for like half of the Pokemon aren't that good, and the single Pokemon are better. It's kind of a double-edged sword where one was sacrificed for the other, but I don't think it was needed. The other problems I have with this generation are the Ultra Beasts. Regardless if this set of Pokemon are big or not, this is the most legendary Pokemon we've ever gotten in a game. That aren't including remakes where a bunch of legendaries just exist within the same space just to fill up the Pokedex. They definitely aren't normal Pokemon, but I'm assuming everyone else considers them legendary. Regardless, there are at least 10. The main thing that bothers me, aside from most of their designs, since I consider them real shit, is that they aren't from our planet, universe, fucking dimension. Point is, they aren't actually Pokemon. Funny enough, people like to go to war about Pokemon against Digimon, but a lot of these fucking Ultra rejects feel more like Digimon in both design and concept. Think about it, seriously. It's unbelievable. Well, that was my take on all the generations. Clearly, it starts on a real high note, but then it declines and morphs into this feeling of, Last I mentioned the round table of character design, I said there were 13 people. Well, up to Gen 7, people came and went, but in the end, there are now 21 artists. I'll say again, 21 artists! I know I was just goofing before, but we started at 8. From that, 3 of the originals are still here. I have no idea what the design philosophy is at the Pokemon Company, but I think it's clearly changed. What started out as referencing bugs and wildlife, while still there for sure, isn't as pronounced. It feels like things are just becoming more monster and creature-like, which isn't bad, but it's a decent drift away from what started. The overall art has become more, soft? For a lack of words, I guess. Compare the art from over the years, but just look at how different Pikachu has become. You'll see what I mean. So yeah, designs have gotten kind of not great over the years, but I haven't really spoken on the legendaries throughout all of the games. But there's a reason for that. Legendaries tend to have a big role in the story of these games now. But that wasn't always the case. If you know anything, you know this is kind of a downward spiral too. So ever since Gen 2, every box has been plastered with the legendary of that game. Gen 1 though had its starters. Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise, even Pikachu got their time to shine on the box. But never again did we ever see a starter Pokemon make the front of the box ever again. I don't count Let's Go. We had the legendary birds and Mewtwo post-game, and that was all good, but it was never the real focus. The goal was simple: become the Pokemon Master and Champion, and defeat Team Rocket. What was Team Rocket? A normal group of assholes! What made it even crazier was the fact that Giovanni was the last fucking gym leader. What? No other game has done that, some crazy twist shit like that. And that was crazy in itself because we actually had a fucking father. Why are all of our mothers single? Is this why we always run away to live in the forest? Gen 1 is kind of a one-of-a-kind experience. Gen 2 had a bigger focus with the legendary dogs and Lugia and Ho-Oh, but even though they were more integrated into the story, it was still hardly the focus. Team Rocket was back to no good, fucking with slow pokes and shit, and we gotta kick some ass! And when your time is done in Johto, we're going back to Kanto! The fuck? Another thing, no other game has ever attempted going back to an older region after the main story. Granted, I know this game came with a whole Easter basket of problems and complications, but it was something that made the world of Pokemon connected, and seeing your past rival taking the place as 8th gym leader was like the natural evolution. God, don't even get me started with Red on Mount Silver. Give us more of his theme song! Gen 3 is where the whole legendary thing took center stage in terms of story, but I feel like Gen 3 and 4 did it the best overall. Team Aqua and Team Magma both feel threatening and have the visuals to make them stand out. Mainly Magma, but I might be biased because they have my favorite rival outfit. It was also the only time we had 2 different evil groups trying to have a domination and going against each other, and the remake did wonders for Gen 3 with these groups. Granted, the goals weren't that different, but it was still a good concept we, again, never saw. Team Galactic, on the other hand, was intimidating in itself, mainly because it was the closest we got to another Team Rocket. Maybe. We had a clear sense of branches within this evil batch, and the leader, what's his name? Cyrus! Cyrus was invested really hard, and because of that, his determination was pretty intimidating. When talking about Gen 5 though, the story is usually considered pretty good. But realistically, it's only good because of N. Take him out, and it kinda sucks. Why? Because everyone else sucks. Take N away, and you got a bunch of old assholes. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. But let's leave N in since he is a part of the game. It still doesn't hit the same level of greatness as Gen 3 and 4 because the legendaries in Gen 5 are horrendous! All of them. They suck so much. I don't remember the purpose of any of them. Gen 3, every Reiji is fucking fantastic, being able to follow the same type of style and shape. The Latis, beautiful. Enough said. Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza are all damn perfect in my opinion too. Everything feels like there's an equilibrium in Gen 3 more than the others, and that applies to Gen 4 as well. Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf are another great trio and used pretty damn well into the story too. Regigigas, I mean, while not looking the best, it just expands on something already great. If that wasn't already great, fucking Dialga and Palkia. Space and time. A duo with so much force and power behind it, it is hard to believe. Like, what could beat that? What? I'm sorry? God? Did you say God? Oh. Okay. God. What's Gen 5 again? You know, that's kind of the theme at the end of all this. After Gen 4, nothing was ever really as impactful after that. Hell, I didn't even talk about Celebi, Jirachi, Deoxys, Giratina, or Darkrai. All fucking amazing. But then what? Reshiram and Zekrom both kinda suck, and again, can't even remember what they're supposed to do. Kyurem serves zero purpose except to fuse like a goddamn Digimon. Keldeo was kinda boring to me. Meloetta is alright, I guess. Genesect is another Digimon, and both trios from Gen 5 suck master balls. Gen 6 basically got no legendaries to the point where it's pretty fucking boring. And again, I have no idea what Xerneas and Yveltal even do. And just throwing this out there, I'm definitely looking up names at this point because I can't remember jack with these recent legendaries. I hate Diancie, Hoopa, and Volcanion. Digimon. Alright, so by Gen 8, there are just too many legendaries that the only one I can tolerate are the ones on the box that realistically serve the least amount of anything. I think Marshadow is actually kinda cool, but I hate Magyarna with a passion to the point where I completely forget it exists. Zeraora looks cool, but Digimon, and why? Why Meltan? Why? So with all this, legendaries took a huge dip, probably bigger dip than the overall Pokemon designs, honestly. But when the legendaries get worse, and the story decides to focus more on these bad legendaries, what do you think happens? I already established how Gen 5 sucks without N, and considering this got a part 2, it's even worse. I can't for the life of me remember the team name for this gen, and I honestly don't care to. What's sad is that I remember Gen 6's Team Pyro, and I really wish I didn't. I give a lot of shit to Gen 5 because I hate that shit, not gonna lie. But its story is its strongest thing going for it. I like Gen 6 for a lot of things that it does, but when you do something worse than Gen 5, oof! We got a problem. Gen 6, hands down, the worst fucking story and the worst fucking team to date. The leader for Team Pyro, I actually can't remember his name. It's also the dumbest looking leader of all of them. Dude looks like he belongs in District 1. It looks like he decorated his head with a Dr. Seuss tree. It looks like a failed model from fucking Zoolander. I can do this all day. It's sad too because this is the game that introduced Mega Evolutions, and while not all are great, it's a good concept, but it's tangled with a horrible story. A forgettable leader with a forgettable plan and horrible design. Gen 7 though? I don't think I've spoken about 7 a lot, and that's a crime because it's really damn good to me. I hate Gen 5, but I want to make a whole video based off of that generation to elaborate a bit more, and I might want to do the same for the ones that I really like. Gen 7 is kind of one of them. After an admittedly repetitive story structure of bad group wants legendary for bad things, we actually get a change of pace. We enter an area that isn't even fully developed since it doesn't have an Elite Four. So for a large sum of time, it's kind of like the original where you're just trying to become number 1. We get bits and pieces of story to ultimately find out that, yes, it's still kind of following the same structure, but it got put in the back. But it was focusing on the Ultra Beast, which, honestly, I wish it didn't. But it gave us more than it ever has by making this whole conflict tied to a family. We have a friend who we see try to branch out of herself, and we know she's a part of something bigger. And I think it all ends in a satisfying way. What's even more interesting is that the game's team this time, Team Skull, isn't even really the ones pursuing anything. They just become associated, and the leader Guzman ends up being a part of it till the end. But for the most part, him and the rest of the group are kind of just a bunch of degenerates that don't have a place to go and end up with each other. They aren't inherently evil, but they're just kind of assholes that people don't pay a whole lot of attention to most of the time. I love them. Overall though, with all the games we had something simplistic yet fulfilling turn into something a little more serious, but then get formulaic and boring to the point where it just gets bad. And then we get to something that's in the middle and honestly pretty damn good. This raises the question though, what's Gen 8 gonna do? Yeah, okay, I'm remembering this after I finished writing the whole thing. Oh god. I'm not sorry. But I feel somewhat obligated to talk about the whole animation thing, mainly with the battles, but I'm gonna try to blow through this. So battles have always been the same in all the mainline games, and that's fine. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I get it. Granted, Gen 5 might have tried a bit early with the moving pixels, cause wow! So the problem people have at this point is that the battle animations now are lazy and or stiff, if not both, and always bring up the stadium games, Coliseum games, and to an extent Gale of Darkness, because the Pokemon in those games just feel more alive. They move around much more. When a Pokemon gets attacked, they actually get attacked and don't look like they're just getting birthday punches to the shoulder. Battles should look like battles now, not toys smacking into each other. They probably could have accomplished this by the 3DS, but didn't. Does it matter? Not really. While we're on the subject, the graphics as a whole naturally got better, getting more crisp and slowly introducing more depth until fully going 3D. And some people had some issue with Gen 6's character models, even though I think it was fine and looked like a 3D sprite would, but by Gen 7 it looked phenomenal. So anyway, back to the regular stuff. Now, by the time this video comes out, it's been a few weeks since the Pokemon Direct and the Treehouse showing at E3. And to be honest, it's probably going to be more than a few weeks, maybe a few months. At this time, we have no idea what the evolutions of the starters look like, and we only know about, what, 7 other Pokemon? At least from the time of recording. 5 from the Pokemon Direct and 2 from E3? I don't think they look bad, but it's still too early to tell if the entire dex will have good or bad Pokemon. Wild encounters are a mix of Let's Go and traditional Pokemon. I'm down for that. There's a big open area that's connecting locations where the Let's Go elements are taking place. And the bike can now be rode on top of water, which is pretty damn cool. I'll be honest. Flying is done by one of the new Pokemon introduced, and I can only assume that they'll keep trying to find new ways to completely get rid of HMs, so we just have to find one that sticks. We got to see some of the characters, and Twitter did what it does. Wasted no time on that. 2 of those characters being your rival, who probably has the dumbest name to date, and the champion, who's also your rival's older brother, which already makes him more interesting than Gen 5 and 6. Hi! Post-finished script me here again! The date now is June 27th, and we got some more stuff about that Pokemon mobile game. What is it? Champions? Masters? One of those. I think it's Masters. And, does anyone else think this is slightly better visuals? At least in terms of character animations, they just look better. Just a bit more alive in the little clips we saw. The coloring of the characters seems better too, and it might be because there's more flat and don't have a weird white shine to them. The visuals of Sword and Shield seem inconsistent sometimes. Characters look one way, but the field you run around in looks another way. You have one tree fitting the atmosphere with lazy texturing, but then another interactable tree that's annoyingly different from the rest. It's just odd. Dynamax battles are cool, but if you look at the effort into them, there isn't a whole lot. It's just an upscaled model from the Pokemon. They don't have any different attack animations. There isn't any extra weight put onto them. It just seems like wasted potential. Oh yeah, and we still have dolls barely moving. That hasn't changed either. To say that Game Freak is being lazy is easy to say, and since we aren't on the inside, it's hard to argue against. They have a ton more space to work with, so natural advancements should be easy and a no-brainer, but we aren't seeing a lot of that. So to me, there's 2 possibilities for this. 1, Game Freak is going kinda safe with this game. It's the first mainline console game and they want to make sure it doesn't suck and it sells. 2, which I think is more likely since I'm cynical, they know no matter what, the game is gonna sell ridiculously well, make huge numbers, and will overall still grow from this no matter what happens. They feed on Pokemon fans, we just eat up the fat offered to us like the good farm animals we are. I didn't buy into the Let's Go games, but I know no matter what, I'm falling into the abyss that is Sword and Shield. Okay, back to past me! Overall, I have high hopes for the game. I hate the legendaries, I like the visuals, mostly, and I like the Pokemon so far. I really do want to just see the rest of the Pokemon. I'll probably end up seeing them through the leak, because that's how it's been for years now. It does how is. We don't have any information on the villain group either, but my theory, the game theory, is that the leader is the champion. which I would be so happy with. At least to me, it seems almost as interesting as Sun and Moon, but we won't know for sure until there's more details to come out, or the full game is out. I love Pokemon and I care about it a lot. It's been my thing since I was a small, big-headed little thief, don't ask, and it's stuck with me since. I mean, clearly it means something, otherwise I wouldn't have written nearly 9 pages about it. So now you all know where I stand on basically every generation of Pokemon. I'll probably make more Pokemon videos in the future, so here's to Gen 8 not disappointing. You thought this was the end? Nah, son! If this sounds a little worse, oops, I'm rushing to get this done, because this should have been done a while ago. I don't have anything closed, I have my fan on. If there's noise, oops. But yesterday, there was just a little bit more stuff announced, and it was cool. They announced another rival, or I guess like a true rival instead of just a friend. And I like his design, and he looks like he can be a potential back to Gary kind of guy, which is cool. And then they announced some idol. She's cool. And then we got Team Yell, which, what the fuck? I swear they look like a really bad attempt at recapturing Team Skull, and it's just not gonna happen. At least that's what it's perceived as to me. But there's parallels to like actual real world, and like the whole, you know, the whole National Dex is gonna be in the thing. Oops, right? Which that's a whole nother case that I didn't really bother to bring up. But that's pretty fucking stupid. And also, the more I looked into it, the more I realized, wow, they really are being a little pretty fucking lazy about all this. And I shouldn't be surprised, because sure, a game is a priority, but they also got merchandise, movies, fucking anime still, the card game, plushie. Like, there's so much that Game Freak is definitely just like, ah, yeah, it'll be fine. They announced some new Pokemon, not a whole lot, but we now know that there's gonna be the equivalent to Alola Forms, and they announced a Zigzagoon. That's probably the best fucking thing that they've shown. I'm gonna be real, because that new design is awesome. And then they made a Bong. I hate its design so much. Weezing got disrespected. It's I thought we were past this. I thought we were doing better, and then they wanted to slap us in the face with a fucking just an erect penis. I still have hope for this Pokedex though. I do still have hope, but the way that the team is looking kind of scares me. I still have hopes of the champion being a villain. I really wish that. I have hope for the rival. Now the video's over, even though I'm probably still forgetting something. Goodbye!